constituency in the country, but the entire race or the makeup of the next parliament is done and dusted. So the growing interest in the position of Deputy Speaker is one of the issues that we are going to look at in this particular Kickstarter. I have with me usual suspect, Mr. Made Akol Amazima. Many thanks for joining us once again.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine.
We also have a new kid on the block.
Yes.
Honorable Emmanuel Wepukulu Bayera, MP-elect for Bulambuli constituency.
Yes.
Congratulations on your election as a member of Parliament.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Mr. Mazima, allow me give the opportunity to Mr. and Honorable Wepukulu to first talk to us about what the election cycle was for you, but most importantly, now that you are the MP-elect for Bulambuli constituency, what should we expect?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris, and good morning, viewers. Good morning, Ugandans. I'm Emmanuel Biara Wepukulu, the MP-elect for Bulambuli constituency, to run for the period of 2026-2031. And I want to tell you, Chris, it has been a roller coaster of so many things. I think since 2018. Since 2018, yeah, since 2018, when I showed interest in the Bulambuli constituency seat. Unfortunately, I didn't make it in 2021. And what I decided to do, since I had identified the challenges, the problems people were facing, and the commitment to serve, I decided to stay on point. I went back to communities to indulge you in everyday challenges they face, especially that I'm coming from the Elgon zone, where we face mudslides and floods year in, year out. So, and there are no long-term solutions that have been provided. I said, let me get stuck in there until eventually I got a flag in 2025, that was in July, the NRM flag, and eventually winning the national elections on the 15th of January. And I just want to say thank you to the voters, to my bosses of Bulambuli constituency. And I'm here to bring effective representation, good leadership, to say this is where we have reached as a country, and which deliverables can I make for my people and Uganda at large, but most importantly, the solutions I come along with to the challenges that we face.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Bazil.
Especially, let me add this, especially the youth. We need to promote youth empowerment. Youth empowerment.
Yeah. We'll be talking about that a little deeply later. Mr. Mazima, do you see hope? Do you hear a new thinking coming into the political space? What do you see when you look at the new kids on the block, especially when it comes to the new members of parliament?
Well, I think what happened in this very election is not any different from the previous elections we've had. That at every election we've had a very high turnover in terms of parliamentary elections. You find that we have actually new people coming on board. And of course, like he comes in with a lot of ambition. Because in most cases you find that speaker, deputy speakership, these are positions maybe people who have served 1, 2, or 3 terms in parliament perhaps can think of really contesting. So he comes in with that fire, he comes in with that ambition, which is actually very good because everybody definitely have to be ambitious. It means that even when you are not in parliament, you are busy following and you feel, yes, you can steer parliament. But what I want to also say is that yes, the newcomers will actually determine who becomes parliament because I believe they form, they are the majority. So it will determine who exactly becomes speaker and who becomes deputy speaker, of course guided by the party that has the tyrant of numbers. Yeah.
Okay. Now that the battle for deputy speaker is on, let me just go back to the decision that was made just a few days ago by the NRM caucus, the endorsement of the incumbent Anita Among and the incumbent deputy Mr. Tayebwa. This is done and dusted, more to say, because the numbers game is clear. The National Resistance Movement is not going to be voting anything different. What is the thinking behind engaging in a process that is done and dusted?
What do you mean? If you say done and dusted, it means they are already going to serve in the 12th parliament in those positions. I am an NRM member. I know about the SEC. We are the ones who elected the SEC members. Yes, I participated actively. If you are in Kololo, you should have seen me. But we want to go back to the procedures. The NRM Parliamentary Caucus rules of procedure of 2015. They were made, and then they say for a person, for any elected member of parliament to express interest in these positions, you have to, first of all, there should be expression of interest and let people apply formally. Whichever member is interested, the way I am interested in the position of deputy speakership, and how it comes about is by my cultural leader, Umukuka. We were seated in a caucus of about 25 MPs from Bugisu in Malukumbale, and he says, I see a lot of potential in the 12th parliament coming from Bugisu region. He says, people like B.R. Emmanuel, you should go and contest for speakership. I said, no, thank you very much, Umukuka. I will not go for speakership. I want to start at a lower level. I be a deputy to gain more experience going forward. And then when I come in my party, they said they have already endorsed people. Have we reviewed the NRM rules of procedure? No. That means we are not practicing, we are not promoting democracy. And let me tell you, also the NRM party, we have four core principles. That is patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic development, and finally democracy. So in a mature democracy is where people should contest, should compete. And when you compete, it's not because you are undermining what others have achieved, but you just want to be a promoter of institutional involvement. You bring new ideas on board. So I usually don't want to talk about rumors. For me, I'm still hearing about it as a rumor. Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Why is because, first of all, there should have been official communication from the chairman of the party, that is His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, maybe through his media handles or through his press releases. We also have my namesake Emmanuel Dombo, who is head of communication. He should have communicated something officially, but above all, the Secretary General of the party, the Right Honorable Todong, should have come out that as NRM, as SEC, we have decided that the Right Honorable Tayewa is going to be our flag bearer in the speakership race to take over that role in the 12th Parliament. But look, let me take you back in the field. I am glad that when I came here, you started by asking me the experiences I've faced on my trail to reaching here, or reaching Parliament, or being elected as a member of Parliament. I contested with 5 members of NRM in the primaries of the NRM, and when they lost, when I won the election, all of them came again to stand against me. These are same NRM members. I thought if we have internal elections, you have chosen the best, or the voters have shown their direction, you are supposed to step down. And I'm glad that the Deputy National Chairman, Haj Gongo, came out straight. The SG came out straight. The party status was like, we should back all independent. Okay, those who have lost in the primaries should go back and support those who won the flags, but people came back independent. My number 2, the first runners-up came back, the second runners-up came back, all of them came back. So, and I waited for punishment on these people. Nobody came and contested. Therefore, I conclude on that by saying, if SEC, as per the rumors, has endorsed Honorable Tayewa, let them know that Emmanuel Biara is going to run as an independent. But if the democratic process is taken back, that we follow rules of procedure, we show interest, SEC can vet us to see my manifesto, to see my vision of what I want to bring in the 12th Parliament as a Deputy Speaker, and then maybe they give reasons as to why I should step down, then I should consider it, and then maybe support whoever, or even the Honorable Tayewa, I can support him. But if they just go through what I'm hearing as a rumor, then it is not good for the party development.
What does this augur for the party, the National Resistance Movement? Is it the latest leg of political intrigue that we've seen over the years, or Mr. Wepuhulu is going to toe the line?
Well, first of all, I must applaud the courage
with which he has
and the vigor with which he
interesting there.
Yeah, but I also need to say this, that all revolutionary parties, CCM, NRM, Frelimo, ANC, work on guided democracy.
Yes.
It's always guided democracy. And therefore, having won elections with actually tyrant of numbers, the leadership of Parliament will be informed by the legislative agenda they have for the next 5 years. And this is what happens. That the regime looks at the next, now they have been given a mandate for the next 5 years. And therefore, in these next 5 years, the legislative agenda will inform who becomes Speaker and who becomes the Deputy Speaker. Now, I also wish to tell my brother that we have NRM that has tyrant of numbers in the House. But also there is a pressure group within NRM called PLOU that has now tyrant of numbers within NRM. Actually, even right from the SEC elections, you see that most of the people they supported really went through. Even in this election, most of the NRM flag bearers that were supported by PLOU went through. Okay, so it therefore means that whoever has been seen working well with PLOU, in most cases actually, is going to be the Speaker and Deputy Speaker. Now, the other thing I also want you to not to underestimate is that the speaker, the current speaker, and the deputy went unopposed. So that gave them chance, really, because they are also as ambitious as you are, gave them chance to strategically position themselves. You saw the speaker herself moving across the country. Yes, she was campaigning for the big man. I'm sure she was also campaigning for herself. You also saw the deputy speaker moving across the country. So this gives them an upper hand over and above any other candidate from within NRM. Now, talking about SEC, yes, SEC came in because ideally after this this election we had, that internationally was questionable because of shutting down of the internet and other issues. You don't have to open up again for a bruising speakership race, just like we had the Kadaga and Anita Among context. So it is very, because now there are so many things that have to be fixed. I think that's why the SEC came in, so that it can give strategic guidance. However, that doesn't stop any other person, because now SEC said this is our preference. Like, for example, in the last elections, we saw SEC endorsing Olanya, but Kadaga came as an independent. So it happens. It happens that yes, SEC can pronounce itself, but it doesn't stop any other person who is interested. Maybe you never know. You could be one of the lucky ones who are going to change history, being the first independent candidate for speakership going through. Because ideally, if you don't toe the party line, it means you'll be vying as an independent. Yes.
And that's where another controversy opens up. The rules of procedure for Parliament.
Yeah.
Allowing you to transition from the national resistance movement to run as an independent for speakership. MPs traditionally have 12 months before the next general election to indicate change of party. Now, running as an independent as early as the speakership race on the first sitting, how do you intend to navigate that?
Yeah, I think the rules of Parliament does not say that. That for you to contest as an independent, you have to first delineate yourself from the party. No. As it says, any elected member of Parliament is supposed to contest. If, for example, my party, okay, let me give you an example. As I said, members of the NRM contested against me, those who lost in the primaries. They didn't lose their membership of the party. They remained members of the NRM. So in case things go the way they are, and I want my brother Akol to dissociate myself with the speakership race. I'm here to contest as a deputy speaker. Okay? Yeah. I don't know what is going to happen in the docket of speakership. Yeah, because I, for one, am the one who held the placard or the poster for the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Madam Anita Among, and for the SEC position against Speaker, the former Speaker, Right Honorable Kadaga. So I'm not going into that docket. She will remain my boss. Yes, she traversed across the country. She was in Blambuli for me, and she assisted me so much in talking to the president so that we would also have cattle restocking in the Bugis sub-region, and specifically I was accorded that pledge within my constituency of 10 sub-counties. So I salute her for the achievements she has done. As for me, I want to call upon government, to call upon the NRM, that for every senior position they are going to accord to anybody, for example in Parliament, let them get a youth to stand in as a deputy, so that you train people. I mean, we gain experience through hands-on. Because if for example, the Right Honorable Anita Among wins the next race for speakership, there should be another deputy who is going to be trained. And I think the Right Honorable Taiwo has been trained enough. He has gained the experience that if he gives me this docket, maybe he can become the next speaker in the next 5 years. Therefore, as a member of, as a member of NRM, if I decided to contest as an independent, it does not exclude me, or it does not remove me from being a member of the NRM. I'll run as independent, NRM leaning, as most of them say.
Okay, I'll be making some further investigations,
yes,
individually on the part of MorningAtNTV to understand the dynamics therein. But Mr. Amazima, when you look at Mr. Taiba's tenure as Deputy Speaker, the NRM right now is looking at, given the fact that he's already endorsed, at continuity. There is no need for disruption right about now. But again, that is at the cost of suffocating the ability of others to be able to front themselves, but most importantly, to allow for new ideas, new ways of doing things, something that should be a practice any party would want to entrench, yes, over time, especially now that a transition is certain.
Well, thank you very much. I just submitted is that revolutionary parties work on guided democracy. That is number one. But also number two, yes, it's very right that he comes up with an ambition, and that is in one way or the other to tell the world that, look here, we are also potential. We have the potential to do this. And it is also showing that NRM as a party that is not running short of leadership. There are always alternatives within the party. But the other issue that my brother should also put into consideration is that if you've been following the pattern of the speaker and the deputy speaker, I've not seen in our history where the speaker and deputy come from the same region. You're from Bugisu, and the person you're supporting for speaker, who's AAA, comes from just your neighbor in Teso Eastern region. So these are some of the things that perhaps you would maybe say, look here, the speaker is from the north, he's from the west, and that would give you that chance. That is number one. Number two, I also like this time the level of ambition that is coming from Bugisu region, because you have your, she's called Big Sister, Honorable Lydia Wanyoto. That has been her dream of being the speaker, and I'm sure she's also among those people who are criticizing the position of SEG, saying that, look here, why do you ring fence this, okay? So these are some of the things that in most cases in politics you need to build what we call, you have to build allies. You have to get into some kind of negotiations. You have to negotiate. Say, look here, we are giving you this, we also want this. But as long as the current speaker has been endorsed, it becomes very difficult for the deputy to actually come from Eastern Uganda, and that's what gives Taiwa a very, very big advantage, or any other person from any other region. And that is one. Now, on the issue of the youth being actually fronted, yes, we must thank this government that it is among the governments that have empowered the youth, because we have youth members of parliament, we have a whole ministry for youth, we have the state minister for youth docket, and the National Youth Council. So it's among the governments in Africa that actually have an elaborate structure for the youth. Now, that really said, the speaker and deputy speakership positions are very sensitive positions, especially if what is in the public domain is to be taken serious, that this is a transition Kisanja. So you really need people that are tested in terms of party loyalty. You need people who have also been part of structuring, in other words, of planning this transition. Because this transition we are talking about that is being anticipated is something that has been on for the last 10 years. And now you see it is really taking serious shape. Like I told you, that PLU is now a serious pressure group within NRM that I'm sure it is going to dictate and dominate the legislative agenda in the next 5 years. I'm also very, very sure that the current Secretary General of PLOE, that is the Honorable Daudi Kawanda, is going to play a very, very significant role now in these next 5 years, because ideally his pressure group has delivered. They have members in SEC, they have members in the local council, they have members in parliament. So ideally, what as the Secretariat of PLOE comes up with will ideally take center stage in the administration of the country and also in legislation in the next 5 years.
Gentlemen, it's top of the hour. Let's go for a break. When we return, we shall talk a little bit more about the fact that the PLU has now effectively transitioned into a power bloc. It is no longer just a pressure group. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us. It's the Kickstarter, and we are looking at the 12th Parliament and the landscape, how it's looking ahead of the election of the Speaker as well as Deputy Speaker in the first sitting of the first session of Parliament. With me in studio is Emmanuel Wepuhulu Baira, the MP-elect for Bulambuli constituency in Elgon region, as well as Akol Amazima, a political analyst and Pan-Africanist, here with us for Critical Perspective. We went into the break on account of the debate on whether the PLU has effectively transitioned into a power bloc. I think it's agreeable that it has. So much so that we now see the seeming spokesperson and Secretary General of PLU.
No, they have a spokesperson, that is Andrew Mwenda.
They have a spokesperson,
yeah,
Andrew
but
Mwenda. They also have a Secretary General who you have equated to the NRM's Secretary General in a discussion that we had behind the scenes. That is quite interesting. The fact that it's not noted and many people are not actually appreciating the fact that there is so much power that is coming from Mr. Kawanda, the Honorable. But this question first goes to the new kid on the block, the MP. What needs to change right now in terms of governance of Parliament? Because we might talk about governance outside Parliament, the greater political sphere, but within Parliament, there are contestations, there are challenges that have seen, for example, a very, I don't know how to describe it, but I hope it's the word, nervous relationship between the former Speaker and the current Speaker, despite the fact that she remains an MP and she's well within the workings of Parliament. What needs to change in terms of governance?
Oh, thank you very much, Chris. I'll take you back a little bit on the arguments raised by my senior man here, Akol, that we are having the Speaker, or most probable Speaker, to go through from Teso, that is Eastern Region. We have my sister Lydia Wonyoto, the Honorable, who is also
from the region.
Yeah, from the same region, Eastern Region, and then I'm vying for the Deputy Speakership role. I think we shouldn't take our leadership to a level of regional status. We should look at the competences. What does Biara, what is he bringing on board? Is he bringing visionary leadership? Does he have the integrity? Does he have the competence? Does he have the manifesto or ideas that are going to bring real-time solutions to the challenges we are facing, like the one you are mentioning about governance, about what is happening in Parliament, that a former Speaker cannot fend on well with the current speaker. Those are things we should put down. And I think Kenya, in Kenyan politics, has done this very well, where they bring unity governments, and then people, the handshake phenomenon, which is happening very much in Kenya, that if I am a former so-and-so, like for me, I have an incumbent member of parliament, but when we meet, we are sharing, and I'm telling him, please bring on board what you didn't finish in the 11th parliament, or what you are not about to finish, and then I carry it on. Therefore, whether we all come from Eastern Uganda or from the neighborhoods of Bugiso and Teso, whatsoever, someone, if he's able to serve, please let him be given a chance. Look at the competences, don't look at where they're coming from, or the tribe they originate from. Coming back to your question, where you are saying what, in terms of governance, especially the parliamentary part of it, the parliamentary organ. I want also to somehow deviate from the senior call. It is true that the Ugandan government has given opportunities of youth across the political divide. The youth representation, the Ministry for Youth, the whichever platform that has been aired out. This time I am specific about the institution, the engine of policy making, that is parliament. The engine of transformation, if policies are made well. That's where I don't want just participants in terms of legislation, but I want people who can take decisions, who can make, who can give opportunity to others. Let me tell you, if we are if I'm a deputy speaker of parliament, a person within the age of 30, okay, 20 or 18 to 30, will feel more comfortable to come and approach me as a deputy speaker, leave alone those within the parliamentary circles, but also from the outside to come and bring on board the challenges they are facing. That is when we can avoid or indulge the Gen Zs, if we are to, if we are supposed to give them opportunity to come and meet us. I'm telling you, people go to State House. Usually we have an argument in Bugisu where we say when people reach President Museveni in the State House, they lose track on what they are supposed to speak. And you know why? It maybe creates fear. Okay. A person of 30 reaches the president, and then instead of mentioning critical challenges they are facing, they will fear and they just nod. Apart from people like Emmanuel Biara, myself, when I went to the State House for the first time, I was tasked to translate Elunyankole word, Okuchenura. When I was asked by the president, I stood up and then said, Okuchenura in Lugisu means huyeta. The English version is a helper, someone to help something. And I told him, please, Your Excellency, come and help us on issues of mudslides, floods which are persistent, the restocking program which is being selective for only other regions. And I faced off him, and he smiled at me, and I was given guts. Therefore, I want to take an opportunity in Parliament to take up a critical leadership role. That is a deputy speaker, that where other youth across the political divide, across the professional career development divide, they come on board so that we can see how we can help on. And the governance in Parliament, let me, okay, maybe the quality of debate, if I can say. I don't know where people come up. Okay, maybe through the order paper, the procedures, and then people started discussing how President Museveni is fairing students to take them on rallies. And you see, such a debate is taking 2 hours or even 1.5 hours. Yet we have real-time challenges, like Kampala, where we are seated now. I think, Chris, you have seen challenges of flooding. Every year, every rainy season, we experience floods here. People lose lives, people lose property in areas of Waise, in Lugogo, in Luzira. And then when the rains, the rainy season gets over, it comes to normal business. I would expect Parliament to be discussing what are the long-term solutions for floods in Kampala.
Oh, okay.
Does it mean shifting? Or does it mean shifting our city? We have seen countries like Tanzania, like Egypt now, which is constructing a new administration block, I mean city, a new administration capital, to shift the narrowness within Cairo, the population pressure, to shift it somewhere so that they can maybe even work on their older cities. And for solutions for Kampala, I'm telling you, my brother, I've been here for 15 or so years staying in Kampala. If we are to make this city, for example, control floods, control the traffic jam, control so many other challenges we face, I think we just need to make a shift. And those are the issues in terms of governance that I want to bring to
Mr. Cole, you will agree with some of the facts that Honorable Wepuhulu speaks about. But there must be a reform agenda that a new MP or an existing one who might want to come into the system in order to lead, there must be a reform agenda to follow. What should Parliament change in this particular tenure?
Well, there are so many things that we feel really Parliament should change. Yeah, and one of the proposals I've always had, I know that even my brother here may not support it, is that they should think of really legislating to the effect that we should have a salaries and remuneration commission, like it is in other countries, that there should be a separate commission that rewards labor in the country.
That is right.
But where members of Parliament will decide that now today they have to even allocate themselves standing allowance, that is really going to be a very, very big challenge. Because ideally this, you've even seen that even the members of Parliament on the opposition, when it comes to something, a take-home, they all speak the same language.
He will be talking to us about the
they forget about
350 million.
They forget about whatever, the voters.
Yeah.
So we need that commission, so that, because the biggest challenge this country is having is the reward for labor. Same people, same qualification, doing the same thing, but being rewarded differently. And I think that is really hurting the labor, because the labor sector. Because in any production process, the ability to reward labor satisfactorily is actually the ability to produce more efficiently, produce. That is it. Now, I wish to go back to what I said when I said I'm equating the Secretary General of PLOU and NRM. What I'm saying is that, yes, the Secretary General of PLOU, behind the scenes, is going to play a very, very significant role. Of course, here, on the surface, we have the Secretary General of the ruling NRM. But I want you to understand that if you've been following the pattern of our politics in Uganda, that all parties become active towards elections. And after elections, you go to all the secretariats of the parties, including NRM, they go cold. But you see, ever since the formation of PLOU, you find that they have been active throughout. And really, if they maintain that, you're going to see that they are going to actually play a very significant role in the next 5 years, because it's something ever since the inception, they've really been active. But most parties, all the parties, ever since 2005, we went into a multi-party dispensation. The parties are always active a year to elections, and immediately after elections, after the president has sworn in, the MPs have sworn in, then all the party secretariats just go cold. Okay, now back to my brother, is that in politics, especially where you're going to be voted by an electoral college, people build alliances. And in building alliances, already the incumbent, that is Right Honorable Anita Mong, has already built an alliance with her deputy, that is Taiwan. And I really don't see you break that alliance, unless you're also going to form a strong alliance with some other person, because I don't see Right Honorable Anita Mong backing you up, because she is already having an alliance, given that they have endorsed them together, the Speaker and the Deputy. So it becomes really counterproductive. Actually, it becomes unwise of you to think of building an alliance with somebody who already has built an alliance, and they are marketing it. And this is an alliance that they've not built now. They even built it before elections. Yes, before elections, because this is what she used to say. I and my deputy, we are going to serve. We request to serve for the next 5 years. So this is something that has been on. Now, the other thing I also wish Honorable to also understand is that let's look at the precedents. Let's look at the history of the speakers in the country, that most of them have had a history of serving at least one term. Most of them, if not all of them, Speaker and Deputy. At least somebody has served as 1 or 2 terms as a backbencher to really understand the dynamics of the House. And I can see you are actually a fresh newcomer. So I really, like the traditional schools used to go to. You find that you don't join in senior 3, and you want to become the head boy. That's being extremely ambitious. That's why I say that, yes, I like the ambition in you, but I would prefer that you really don't crash with the ambition. You must look at the precedences created. And the other thing I also wanted, yes, we've had surprises. People can come and surprise.
Yes.
But the surprises, I'll give you 2 scenarios where we've had people standing against the ruling party position and they win. And they take up the leadership of the Speaker. Now, it has happened in Kenya during the NAC. But you should understand that NAC Kenya had more MPs than PNU, part of National Unity, that was Kibaki's party. And therefore, their candidate, Kenneth Marende, sailed through. Another incident was in Ghana, the last term of John Akufo-Addo. NDC and NPP of John Akufo-Addo and NDC of now the current President Mahama had the same number of MPs. They had 270. Now they had only 2 independents in the House, and those independents determined who became the Speaker. Now these are independents who had been denied their party tickets by NPP, that is the sitting president then. And also they punished the party by voting the opposition. So in John Akufo's last term,
they more like became the kingmakers.
Actually, they more like became the kingmakers. In John Akufo's last term, actually the Speaker was from the opposition. But of course, with their mature democracy, they had to. And you see how that affected the performance of NPP. That is how NDC now came into power. That is now John Mahama is the current president. So, but with the tyrant of numbers in
that the National Resistance
Movement enjoys, and with their power bloc, the PLU, I don't see somebody coming from outside really breaking through that. That is my argument.
Maybe, well, somebody can break through, no doubt. But as you enter, yes. You will submit, of course, as you enter the August House into the corridors of power to legislate. You're coming into an institution that is in deficit on a range of issues: public trust, integrity. These 2 aspects are important. Many members of parliament are widely seen by the population as careerists and money makers. They are not there to actually legislate for true transformation. The tests are numerous. You're facing the very first one. 315 million Uganda shillings has been earmarked for you for a new car. We all know what cars can do, and we know that a certain car can do a certain job, and necessarily it shouldn't be 315 million Uganda shillings. What's your view on that? But most importantly, how should you and the rest that might be thinking like you tackle the deficit of public trust and the increasing absence of integrity within the House?
Thank you very much, Chris. And as usual, before that, allow me just to have a feel or answers to what Senior Cole said before I come to 315 million that has been, you say, has been earmarked for us. I want
As
to
you
say,
prepare for that.
Senior Cole is saying historically we have been giving, okay, Parliament has been giving, there's a precedence that a Deputy Speaker takes over after 10 years, like the Right Honourable Kadaga did, and maybe the late Right Honourable Olanya. But also, don't stop, and maybe in the last 2 decades, go beyond that. If you look at the one of my forefathers, the late Right Honourable James Opahabulo, served in Parliament for only 2 years. The late Ayume served Parliament, I think, for only 3 or 4 years. And then that's when Edward II came in, and then the president started, or maybe about 2 terms in Parliament. So I am not being over ambitious. These things happen. Even the Right Honourable Tayewa, I think he came in, was it the 1st or 2nd term? He took over the position of Deputy Speakership. Even the Right Honourable, my sister, my neighbor, the Right Honourable Anita Mong, came in, and then he took over people who had stayed in Parliament for over 2 decades.
Yeah, but her first term, she was a backbencher.
Okay, the first term, yes.
Even Honourable Tayewa, first term, he was a backbencher. For me,
I've been a backbencher for 8 years. I told you I joined this politics, or interested in politics, since 2018, and I've been following every debate on TV. That whatever they have been debating, I follow. I think you might gain experience through reading, through watching, through access to information, and I've been doing this for over these years. And I feel if I'm given this position, I'm going to bring real-time change, and people appreciate my service. Now, going back to
bringing real-time change,
yes,
is anchored on integrity, the ability to be trustworthy, in as far as the public is concerned.
Yes, competence.
Say what you mean, mean what you say.
Yes.
No underhand dealings.
Yes.
You're going into the corridors of power, where some people apparently are green during the day, yellow in the night, yellow in the day, green in the night. You're putting on a yellow one during day.
Yes.
What possibility is there that you could be red in the night?
I think Chris, NTV has been here for some good time, and it has been one of those top-notch TV stations that every Ugandan, including myself, follow closely. But unfortunately, in Bulambuli, you have been presenting us here on stories of mudslides and floods. Whenever they happen, you capture stories, you come and present to Ugandans and the world. But what I have done in Bulambuli is critically very different from what you have been hearing about members of parliament. I run a foundation called Biara Foundation, where I take up first graders from all government schools, and I pay for them from senior 1 to senior 4. And my money that is meant for the car which senior spoke about, that maybe there should be a certain committee that determines salaries and benefits, emoluments. Here, I have already marked that, okay, I've been planning for 200 million, that if it comes to my docket, I already promised my voters, my bosses in my manifesto, that I'll not even touch a shilling of it. I'm not going to buy a new car. I don't need a new car. And if, in case I need a new car, I don't need a car of 200 million. I don't need a car of 300 million with the challenges that I find in my constituency. So I've already donated whichever money will come for me to buy a new car to the constituents. Because every time, yeah, I want to NTV maybe to create time to come and profile or move around my constituency. I already pay 14.5 million per term to students that I pick as first graders, but also the orphans. Those my constituency is so unique that maybe all challenges are embedded in there. My constituency is the one that hosts the landslide victims from all the districts, the 7 districts of Bugisu, Mududa, Namisindwa, Sironko. They are all in Bunambuti resettlement camp. I think you have heard about it. That money is going to help those people, and it will be interesting to watch, or even for you to follow up, that when that money comes, you will see what it's going to do, and it will be evidence-based. Receipt after receipt, how I'm going to pay. And I'm glad that for those who have been worrying, people have been saying, why do you take, even ministers can't take up such a task of paying for most of the students in a constituency. I said, no, this is a vision I have. I want to help. I want to bring change. I want to to bring solutions to my constituency. So that money will go there. And I want to ask my honorable colleagues, the MP elects, those who are going to be in the 12th Parliament. I think we need to cross-check that. Why should a member of Parliament get 315 million to buy a car? Actually, in this Kampala jam, we don't need even to use cars, if I might think, because using a border or using, I saw one of the senior colleagues could be knowing, the former prime ministers of UK. I think it was James Cameron or somebody. He was riding a bicycle to go to the August House.
That's a long shot for an African setting.
So it shouldn't
really long
be,
shot.
But we need it more here than even what those people need. Because if they are doing it and they are well placed in terms of economic power, in terms of development, in terms of... So I want to do it here in Uganda. Okay. And it's going to be done by the MP elect of
Maybe what we need to be very clear, what we need to be very clear about is the morality, so to speak, of 315.
Yes.
Whatever it does could be something that is commendable. For example, putting in a bit of that money into projects that are already running, but the political morality of 315, this money is quite a huge figure, Mr. Akol. I agree, every new member of parliament deserves to understand and feel like, yes, I've arrived.
You have arrived, but what are the challenges you face?
It's natural, it's natural, it happens. It's part of orientation. Even if you're coming to a new job from another, there is something different that has to ensure that that feel comes with it. But we all agree.
The resettlement benefits.
315 is really huge. What would you suggest the amount to be?
And that's about 169 billion shillings. And do you know what that can do at a district level or at a regional level?
Yes,
constructing
but I want you to be clear on how much money
it should be like
for a car.
Like 25 million.
25 million is enough.
Before I came in, before I stepped in the studio, I was watching you with Priscilla, and you mentioned of a 14-year-old in Malaysia who has innovated a car, and you are talking of EVTs, of what. I think if you moved around the Kampala bonds, you can find cars that have 1,000 cc. Those are the cars that members of parliament should be driving. If you are really coming in to bring a change. Because look at our national debt.
Can that car manage in Bulambuli, the terrain?
When you reach Bulambuli, park the car wherever you can, and then use a motorcycle or put on gumboots and then go and face the challenges that those people, the voters, are going through daily.
Mr.
So why should you say that?
Are you listening to a populist or?
No, I am not. I want a call, but especially Chris.
Yeah.
Please find time. Send your cameraman.
No, all teams, our men
all teams. Yeah, you have my brother Wandeka in Bali. Tell him that go and give us a real-time story about BR Emmanuel and his foundation, what he has been doing. And that is why I come here. If we are to manage our national debt, it needs to start with us, the leaders. If you have, I think, Chris, for you to enjoy a nice car, you should know how much you have in your savings. If for you, as an employee of NTV, you have saved about 500 million, you would say, let me pick 100 million. I buy a car of 100 million or 200 million. But if you are in a debt of 500 million, why should you buy a car of 300 million, of 200 million? Does it make economic sense? So that's what we want to bring in the Parliament of Uganda. If we are sacrificing to come and serve our people, why should we increase on the national burden, the financial burden of the nation, than finding solutions to reduce it or even eliminate it so that we be a truly independent nation?
Akol, is this deja vu? Have you heard this before from a novice politician?
I just want to say that, you know, what cattle keepers discuss when they are grazing is not what they discuss when they are milking. So
come again?
What cattle keepers discuss when they are grazing is not what they discuss when they are milking. So he has not yet crossed over to the milking side, and I'm sure we shall invite him here when he has crossed over to
just to chip in, Chris, senior call, just to chip in. I have been working as a regional wetlands coordinator at the Ministry of Water and Environment. Maybe that is where I have been managing a budget of 32 districts across Uganda. That is where I should have sat comfortably and then said, oh, let me sit here and I continue merrymaking. But I come up and say, no, there is a problem somewhere. And what is the root cause? It is where policies are made. And when I go there, what should I do? For me to make real impact, to change decisions, I have to go and contest for a position.
All right.
And when I get that position, that is well. And for another story that you'll capture is on when you go to Bulambuli, it's on climate change action. We have given free seedlings in Bulambuli, about 500,000 trees. Every rainy season, people are planting under Biara Foundation for free, given money from our pockets to ensure that we do.
Honorable, that is commendable. That is commendable, so, and I'm glad the issues of Bulambuli have come out very ably.
The stories I'm saying are not just for the sake of the political.
Now, Mr. Cole,
because he cut me short.
Don't contest that, because if we allow it to become a contestation, this debate will not end.
And this will
what I want you to submit on is
Chris. This is the last one. It will be very simple. That May or June is not very far. As soon as I receive the money, the cameras will be on, and we shall see how the money is spent. Thank you.
Mr. Akol, the 315 Uganda million shillings being handed over, earmarked for members of parliament, is simply the latest episode in what I regard as the commercialization agenda of our political space. Every year, every new term, there is something new that is bigger than the previous. We are seeing this going on. We saw what happened during the elections. We saw what happened during the primaries, especially of the National Resistance Movement. It is very clear money is going to play a critical role in our politics, and the 12th Parliament must either get the guardrails ready, which I don't think will be the case. Now, in light of that, what should Ugandans expect?
Yeah, that is, it goes back to what I began with, saying that it is high time that Parliament and the powers that be thought of the establishment of a Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Because ideally, it is very tempting that the members of Parliament should actually decide
what they earn.
What they earn. It is very tempting, surely. It's like you are a hungry man and you're the one serving the buffet. You first eat before you can serve others. So it is really very, 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 very tempting. Now, my brother, you see, one thing, yes, he's giving that background. But first of all, you're very ambitious. You've actually shown that you're very ambitious. And to sustain that ambition, you need resources. That's why I said that now, when you start milking and you realize that sustaining the kind of career now you are entering into, you need resources that can help you to influence others. I'll tell you, as the day follows night, you'll also have changed. Because we've really seen people have come with very good intentions. But the issue is, once they get there, they realize, because sustaining the political life and career now in Africa is dependent on resources, and you need those resources. So you realize, because now, for example, you've not yet started serious campaigning, assuming the deputies, the speaker and deputy speakership had not been ring-fenced, you would see how money is going to circulate. People, like what happened in Kololo during the SEC elections. You see, it was actually the highest bidder really took the position they wanted. So this is what is really killing the whole thing. That you have people who have spent millions of money to get the positions they've attained, and you are giving them now responsibility to determine what they should actually be earning. So it is high time that really we thought of that commission that would really see how do we reward labor right from the grassroots. For example, you have a chairman, LOC3 at sub-county. To me, I find that person very, very important, more than actually a member of Parliament. Chairman LOC3. But how are they rewarded? What is it? What is their take home? At times, even they don't have a mere motorcycle. Like you come from a hilly district, you see? So these are chairpersons. Look at the districts. Our local governments, the chairperson LOC3. Actually, in some countries like Kenya, like in Nigeria, you even see a whole minister going to contest as a governor. Why? Because being a chairperson of a governor gubernatorial, which is an equivalent of a district, you really have resources. You are bigger than a minister. But now here, you're even seeing chairpersons LOC5 running to Parliament, not because they feel they are going to serve better, but because of the resource envelope, the money that is got in Parliament. So these are the things that, as a country, we really need to look at. That labor, we need to come up with a uniform way of rewarding labor, and we should reward labor depending on their output. There are people who will go to Parliament, spend their 5 years without even saying, Madam Speaker, can even asking to go for a short call even in Parliament. Now that the 5 years they have not spoken anything, but they are earning big. You've seen those members of Parliament. You find that they have never spoken anything. You even don't remember them. They only maybe raise their hands when they are voting, when they are voting. But other than that, you know,
it's really regrettable.
When you look at the attendance also in Parliament, you find that actually out of the 500 plus members of Parliament, there are about 30 to 50 that are always active. But when it comes to payments, they are paid the same. So these are things that we need to have a conversation as a country. Who needs to be given what. Now, there was in the early days of President Yoweri Museveni, whenever he would go to a place, he would ensure that before he speaks, the chairperson LC1 speaks. Now, how is the chairperson LC1 rewarded? And that is why we have many land problems, because they have no resources. And they are now put into the, you see, they are tempted actually to do surely so that they can survive. So this is a conversation really we need as a country.
Okay. Thank you very much, Akol Amazima, Pan-Africanist and political commentator, for those perspectives, and many thanks to you too.
Yeah, okay.
MP-elect for Bulambuli constituency and candidate for Deputy Speaker position in the 12th Parliament. It's been a pleasure having your company here on Morning at NTV, especially the Kickstarter. Let's now go to Arua, where the mayor-elect is also raring to go in as far as service